Is there some sort of checklist of things that are needed to get approval and to pass an inspection? And I think the follow-up to that is, if there's not an available checklist, who might be able to help someone put that together?
There is not at this time an available checklist. It just requires that licensees obtain an approval to operate from ADHS. ADHS would be the right source to go to. Often as these rules season, more information becomes available, and what I have found is ADHS attempts to make the process easy and efficient, and they usually prepare forms that can be filled out online or obtained in order to know what is required in the form of getting your license site up for operation.
Next question. Does a POBM have to have an expungement if they have a marijuana conviction to have an FA card?
They do not have to have an expungement to have an FA card, but they cannot have crimes that would preclude them from obtaining a level 1 fingerprint card with DPS. So it's a little bit of a by question there, because again, they don't have to have an expungement, but if they have other crimes that are on the excluded crimes list, they're not going to be able to get the necessary fingerprint card in order to get, or the level 1 fingerprint card in order to get the FA.
So they might want to consult an attorney if they have questions about their specific conviction?
Yes. There is a list of specific convictions in the statutes, and they are referenced in the the rules. So you certainly could review those and make a determination as a principal officer or board member whether you would be excluded from obtaining a facility agent card.
The next question is, will a DA card be transferred to an FA card for individuals going into the adult use space, or will they be required to get a new FA card?
I'm trying to remember how DHS handled this. I believe that, this might not be one to quote me on, but I believe that what they've done is allowed the DA cards to remain viable, and then the facility agent cards are a new process for those who have not held DA cards. I think they've tried to avoid that duplication in registration and licensing as between the DA agent or the dispensary agent and the marijuana facility agent.
Next question. So we have a lot of questions coming in. Hopefully we'll be able to have time to get to all of these. I know questions came in yesterday as well after we were offline to answer questions. So don't worry if your question isn't answered during this section. It'll be answered either by ADHS online or in additional seminars and meetings that we have. So don't worry if it doesn't get answered. The next question is, with this license, can operational mean selling wholesale to other dispensaries, or does there have to be a retail location?
I think, again, I'm not sure that is answered in the rules directly. Okay. But I think you probably have to have a retail site. And the reason I say that is because the rules do say that you have to be licensed and operational. And I suppose you could argue that if you were cultivating only, you were operational. But again, the statutes and rules currently don't directly answer that question.
I think maybe this is a good one to put a pin in, and we can reference it later.
Exactly.
Are facility agents allowed to work or be under multiple dispensaries?
Yes. They just need to make sure that they are registered and tied to those dispensaries, because again, DHS has to know that certain individuals have authority to be in certain marijuana establishments for purposes of audit and inspection and ensuring that people are only in spaces that they belong in.
So there's one last question, which is, would you advise, and I don't want you to give legal advice from the stage, of course, but would you sort of generally advise getting a fingerprint clearance card first if you were concerned about approval? Not
legal advice from the stage, but I would. I I think it is a very good preemptory step to make sure that you can get a facility agent card and not go through that process, because again, you're submitting significant documentation and a fee to DHS. So if you can't get the fingerprint card, all of that's sort of been for naught. So I absolutely think that would make a tremendous amount of common sense.
Well, Kathy, that was really fantastic and exactly on time. So thank you so much, Kathy.
Thanks,
Wonderful.
everyone.